Hi, everyone. My name is Suzanne. When Emma invited me to speak at this creative career summit, I really had to push myself to say yes, as in the past 37 years of working in and around music, television, and entertainment, despite coming across as an extrovert, I actually shied away from this spotlight business in favor of working beside people who really were good in front of the spotlight. Real artists like Björk, Bono, David Bowie, Imelda May, more recently 78-year-old folk legend Finbar Furey, to 25-year-old folk singer-songwriter Lorraine Nash, who I think could be our Laura Marling, but you can make your own mind up about that. Then I saw this title, Emma. I had to look up the word multiverse. I didn't even know what it meant. I swear, that's the truth. And I was like, oh shit, who's in the audience? How do I make this relatable? Nightmare. So I suppose what I'll ask is, I don't even know who you are or what you do, so I might ask a few questions of you guys. There's Eve Bell, singer. Hello, songwriter. That's nice. I know you. So, yeah, anyone here working in music already? Okay, so there's a few. And film? Okay, even. Anyone with a plan? I'm still working on mine. I honestly never had a plan, but I'm here today. I don't quite know how. I wish I had a formula. I really wish I had a formula like in other jobs. You do this, this, and this, and you get here. But in the creative industries, I just don't believe that works. Sorry. I think we'll stay back on topic, Suzanne. Back to my notes. The two words in that sentence that frightened me a little bit, multiverse, I had to look it up. So the definition I settled on was a theoretical reality that includes a possibly infinite number of parallel universes, right? And that sent me down a complete rabbit hole, really and truly, a parallel universe? And I thought, yes. There were times in my life where I thought I was in a parallel universe. You're drinking champagne in an airplane in the sky, and then you have to go home and wash your clothes and deal with your mum who might not be well or whatever. So I think the thing is, then I thought, it's okay to have a parallel universe or two or three going on, and it's actually probably quite wise. I can certainly say that me and probably some of the other speakers here today, that to make a living in this really precarious creative world, it can be challenging, and having a kind of a place to go that's normal and real and safe or not is reality. And I think the other thing about the creative industries, any of you could end up working with a really famous producer or a director or an artist or a musician, and even if it's only temporary, you still have to go home. You still have to go back to your own reality, that sick mom or bills that haven't been paid or whatever your reality is. And for me, I had to keep coming back down to earth, even though, I was living a kind of crazy life. And my life, you might be asking, how did you get into it? And I'll come back to that. But I want to just mention about the creative industries. Why did we end up here? Why do we want to work in the creative industries? And I think there's something quite alluring. There's still a sort of make-believe about the creative industries. There's sparkle or glamour, fun, adventure. And maybe, in a way, could be seen as an escape from reality, an escape from the everyday humdrum life. But I actually think the trick might be to find the balance, combining the sparkle, glamour, fun, and adventure alongside the humdrum aspects of everyday life. And yes, most definitely, there were really fun times and lots of sparkly times for me. And it was great fun. But I think I was blessed, for the most part, to listen to my inner voice. And I knew when it was time to say goodbye, or I knew it was time to walk away, for whatever reasons. And I would really encourage you to listen to that little voice, because it'll keep you safe and it'll keep you on the adventure road, and you won't get boring. You won't. Like, I see people who have been in the same job for 30, 40 years in our creative industries, and they're actually quite boring. They have a lot more money than I do, but they're a little bit boring. I think I'm a little bit more fun and a bit more interesting, to be honest. But that's their decision, and I suppose we're lucky to have a decision or a choice. Back to the script, sorry. Okay, so where am I now? Oh yeah, at times when I'd walk away from a job, it was brave, you know, because I didn't have a plan. And people said it was naive or stupid or whatever they said, but there was a yearning in myself for adventure or for curiosity or to try something else or to do the brave thing and not take the easy way. And actually, I'm really glad that I did. One example that always raises the eyebrows, and this is true, is that I resigned from a full-time permanent job working with U2 at the age of 21 to be an actress. Think about that, like folly of youth or what. It was an absolute joke, but at least I tried it. I was brutal. I hated people looking at me and I hated learning lines, so it was never going to work out, but at least I tried. And then you're kind of left. I was like, oh my God, I've left this big job. It's 1987. What am I going to do? So I talked my boyfriend into going to Australia, and sure, that's what you did. And it was, remember, there were no mobile phones, nothing like that at that time. And, you know, you'd get letters sent to your next city and you'd pick them up along the way. And anyway, it was a great experience. And I was still only 21. And anyway, back to the script. What I did get was new people, new cities, new cultures, new influences, and I believe that was a hugely positive part of my life. When I look back at the 18-year-old Suzanne, I actually do say it was a bit of a Cinderella story because, you know, I was kind of plucked from nowhere. It was a bit weird. I was definitely not a Nepo baby. And I've tried to leave the creative industries, or specifically the music industry, when things got tough and paid gigs were not presenting themselves. But just when I'd get a bit of clarity or go a new direction, another creative project or a person would come into my orbit again, and I was back on that rock and roll roller coaster for another adventure. But relating my story to you guys in the room, I think events like this one, like a Creative Careers Summit, they didn't have things like that when I was younger. And I think it is important because it gives you time to reflect and assess what you want and meet other new people. And they might be part of your new adventure. But remember, it mightn't be the people sitting or standing up here. It actually might be the person behind you or the person beside you. And you just don't know in this industry who's going to be your next boss, and you just don't know what's coming down the line. Nowadays, you hear the value of networking. And I suppose I am lucky. I love meeting new people. And to this day, I'll jump on the bus to Belfast, to Output, or to Cork, or wherever, just to kind of freshen it up and keep myself agile. And I always come back with, you know, new ideas or new contexts. And even if it doesn't make sense immediately, I'll have a good few new stories to share. And that helps keep fresh and keep not getting kind of boring and complacent and predictable. And I like that, as you can probably tell, standing here shaking. Anyway, I'm really grateful that these parallel universes were in my life. And I'm glad that I managed to kind of simultaneously have them and keep a reality or a normal life. My kids joke, we say, well, we pretend to be normal. Let's get a coffee. That's what normal people do. And it's kind of a joke because everyone has their own normality. And, you know, what I would say is even if you get the big job or you get a break, even if it's only a temp thing, to keep in touch with your old school and family friends, as well as your new colleagues. And if you're in a fancy position, try not lose the run of yourself or believe the hype, because quite honestly, they can drop you in the morning and you have to still live in your real reality. And make time to try and find some joy from your own hobbies. And for me, that was spirituality and yoga, meditation, which became invaluable in COVID. I definitely got a lucky break, and you must be asking, how did she end up going from, you know, Dunleary to an airplane, drinking champagne in the sky? You know, it's all a bit mental. But I fell into this roller coaster life at 18, and it was thanks to an authentic, gifted, and passionate secondary school teacher, my geography teacher, Mr. Dermot Scully. I always get upset when I think of him because he's not with us anymore. He looked like Luke Kelly and he smelled of fags, and he was just amazing. He was really like tough, real mean, tough, but a great teacher, and I loved geography. But I used to tell him I was going to go to Hollywood, I was going to do all this, and he actually believed me. This is the joke. Anyway, between the jigs and the reels, a few years after I had repeated my leaving and I'd done a few jobs, and I was really not feeling it. You know, when you go in, you're like, I just don't feel it. And I remember talking to my mum. I was leaning at the mantelpiece. I was about 17. And I said, there's got to be more for me out there. At the time, I was working in an insurance company, filing paper all day long. And I mean, just wasn't for me. And I think they were delighted to see the back of me. But anyway, Mr. Dermot Scully. So yeah, that's a funny story because I actually had to choose some of my mother's clothes to put on. What could I wear to a rock and roll interview? And I went through her wardrobe and I actually, oh yeah, this will work fine. So I got on the bus in Dunleary into the city centre, 18 years of age, and I looked like I was dressed up as an Aer Lingus flight attendant. And quite honestly, I remember like it was yesterday being quizzed across the table. 2 women were there and they were quizzing me. You know, you can learn how to telex, you can learn how to fax, but have you got cop on? And I just remember holding her gaze and thinking, I won't say a bad word, but there was a bit of a kind of, and anyway, this was a kind of fire in the belly thing that I didn't know. And I thought, what is that? And I've been thinking about it since, and I think it was ambition. And, you know, growing up with single mom, ambition wasn't really part of our vocabulary. So that was an interesting moment. I had never wanted to settle into the norm. I didn't want a predictable job. And half of me was going back to repeat my leaving, and one part of me wanted to do psychology or social work, and the other half, dare I say it, was leaning towards film or stage, acting. You know, this whole, being pulled each way. I had aspirations, as I said, and you know why I didn't do it. But anyway, that day in February '87, I came home on the bus, the phone on the wall rang, and I got the job. And I was a bit like, yeah, you know, I'm repeating my leaving. I'm going to go to college. You know, you have a plan. Anyway, but there was that other feeling inside my tummy, and it was sort of like a nervous excitement. And basically, I ended up going in. I've been given a warning, I have to finish, so I better wrap on. So I won't go into all the, oh no, there is a funny thing I wanted to say. Where is it? Oh, yeah. I could simultaneously do the temp job, earning a few bob, while continuing my studies to the leaving cert. But as I went in there after 1 week, working in this bustling, busy, red-painted office in Windmill Lane Studios, I was completely hooked. I felt like I belonged with this bunch of leather jacket, hairy men and fast-talking, intense women. I loved the working as a team, the hectic pace, the thinking on your feet, the energy. I took that position not as a raving U2 fan, but I will point out I became a fan, not just of the music, but of the work ethic. And I'm proud to say that that work ethic has served me well in this multiverse I find myself in. We don't have time to go through all the twists and turns of an Australian record label or MTV Europe on representing independent labels, but do remember that word independent. That word is really important to me. It may be to you. I didn't realize how much it meant, but the reason it keeps showing up is I love picking my own hours. I love picking my own clients. I choose my own projects. I answer to my own self. Yes, it gets very lonely, and undoubtedly, I could have earned loads of money if I'd made different choices, but for me, I changed my life to have a life because I saw other people, particularly women my age, and their job was their life, and I wanted maybe to have a family, and I am happy to say I have 2 children now. A daughter is 19, Ariane, and Ned's 26, so I'm beyond grateful that I changed my life to have a life. But I managed to stay in the industry, you know, at different levels. I love having the choice. I love working with artists and projects that I like, that I believe I can bring value to and learn from. I have turned down paid work and opportunities because I just didn't get the music, and I couldn't lie, and I couldn't take money for something I didn't believe in. So the other thing about being independent, it gives me the freedom to volunteer with causes and charities that mean so much to me. All my life, I think there's a little activist in there who can't stand injustice or inequality. See, I'm choking up again. I yearn for the world to be a better place, and the more than ever, I realise that none of us can take for granted our freedom. So I really do urge you, I really, really do urge you that if you have, and if you value your freedom, and you've a spare hour or two, consider volunteering in a cause, in something you believe in. Because quite honestly, they're the things I'm really proud of in my life. And right now, we're all watching, you know, the Gaza genocide unfolding on a daily basis. And it's, you know, it's really difficult to work the real life here because no one should be going through what those people are going through. So I've joined Pals for Palestine and North Wicklow Against Genocide to be with these like-minded people. And I really highly recommend it. Sorry. The support and getting out and about on peaceful protests have helped me with my feelings of despair and hopelessness. And we know this solidarity does help the people that are being pushed to the worst limits, not to mention to reach our politicians and hope they do the right thing and be on the right side of history and get the occupation territories bill over the line and stop letting arms pass through Shannon. Sorry, didn't think I'd mention all that, but Eamon Ryan has resigned and maybe somebody will come in. Okay, I'm getting the big shut up now. Okay, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to actually say that I'm going to leave you with 2 quotes today from Dr. Katrina O'Sullivan, the author of the book Poor, a lecturer in Maynooth who I was lucky to hear speaking last Friday. Teachers have a huge impact on the children they teach. It can be negative or it can be life-changing. Dermot Scully changed my life. And the second thing is, sometimes we can't dream. Sometimes we can't be any more than we are right now. But sometimes we can. So as cliche as it sounds, I say follow your dreams, but always find work at finding the little moments of joy and keeping your feet on the ground. Thanks.